Our visit to the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland was a highlight of our trip. Even though we went during the height of tourist season, it was actually not that busy, for reasons we'll tell you about in this video. Located along the northern coast of Northern Ireland, the Giant's Causeway is accessible in a few different ways. We went by car, but you can also go by bus or by tour bus. We stayed at an Airbnb in Port Ballantrae. It was only a 10-minute drive to the Giant's Causeway, or a 45-minute walk if you feel ambitious. And this brings us to our first tip, which is if you're not coming on a tour, try to get a hotel or an Airbnb as close to the causeway as possible, preferably in Ballantrae or the nearby Bush Mills. The next tip is the most important. Try to arrive at the causeway before 9 a.m. as few people will be there before it opens, and it is free to enter at any time. When you get to the main entrance, there are two options. If you go to the right, you'll reach the main parking area. If you go to the left, you'll see a hotel up ahead. More on that one in a moment. Taking the main parking area, it costs £16 per adult to park, which includes use of the main building. However, there is an alternative option, and that's to use the hotel parking to the left. The hotel parking only costs £10, and that also includes a voucher which is good for £10 off food or drink at the hotel. Since the Giant's Causeway itself is free, you're only missing out on the visitor experience within the main building, as well as the guide. This is a bit of an open secret, as the attendants at the Giant Causeway were the ones who actually told us about the hotel parking. Once you're parked, you don't have to go inside the building at all and can just go around and head out to the causeway. There is a gift shop and there are some tours that are done inside, as well as some displays, which you will miss if you don't pay. However, we were here for the causeway, so we didn't mind at all. There are 4 trails at the Giant's Causeway, and you can choose everything from an easy one up to a very challenging one. There's green, blue, red, and yellow. We're going to choose the blue, the moderate one. That'll take us right to the causeway. So we're going to head down the stairs over here and head down to the blue trail. With a number of trails to choose from, we recommend heading down at the very beginning to get to the causeway and do the upper trails later. This way you will miss the crowds and you can see everything from a distance later on. And this brings us to our next tip, which is there is a bus you can take, and it's a hop-on, hop-off that goes from Coleraine all the way to Ballycastle. You can use this bus instead of taking a car, and it's quite convenient for those who don't have access to a car or don't want to take a tour. You'll have to do a bit of walking and be patient, as it takes some time to get to the unique hexagonal stones of the Giant Causeway. Along the way, you'll see some beautiful views of the ocean, and it's quite a peaceful walk along the rocky shoreline. And eventually, those unique hexagonal stones start to appear, but they do get much better as you get closer to the main part of the Giant's Causeway. And this was the reason we arrived before 9 a.m. It's beautiful when there's very few people around and everyone's spread out. You can see the stones and it's not overcrowded with people climbing over them. According to legend, a giant named Finn McCool lived in Northern Ireland. A Scottish giant named Benadonnar, who lived across the Irish Sea, threatened Ireland.
So Finn retaliated by tearing up great chunks from the Antrim coastline and hurled them into the sea. This newly created path, the Giant's Causeway, paved a route over the sea for Finn to reach Benidonner. However, this turned out to be a bad idea, as Benidonner was a massive giant, much bigger than Finn. With the help of his wife, Finn disguised himself as the baby, and when Benidonner came, he saw the baby and thought that if a baby can do this much damage, how much more could a real giant do? Benidonner rushed back to Scotland, tearing up as much of the causeway as possible in his haste to make sure there was as much distance between him and that baby as possible. And thus the legend of the Giant's Causeway was born. The scientific explanation isn't quite so colorful. Basically, the Giant's Causeway was first formed about 60 million years ago. It was created following a period of volcanic activity. The lava cooled and formed the incredible interlocking basalt columns that you see. Each column is nearly perfectly hexagonal in shape, a reminder of the power and beauty of nature. We spent about a half an hour at the main part of the Giant's Causeway enjoying the unique stones. Then it was time to move on, which brings us to our next tip. Don't just stay around the main area, keep going east as there's still some more to see, including the unique pipe organ and the Devil's Finger. If you continue along the trail, you'll be rewarded with some new sights, such as the long hexagonal formations known as the Organ, and the Devil's Middle Finger, located around the corner from the site. In the past, it was possible to walk all the way around this area. However, rock slides and safety issues have caused them to close off this part of the trail. So sadly, we had to stop here and then turn around. Beautiful views, and hopefully in the future it'll be opened up once again.
And now we've reached the end of the trail. Because of landslides, you can't continue. Beautiful sight here. Wow. Amazing. And after we made our way around the red lower trail, we're going to take the red upper trail, and this will take us back up to the top with some viewpoints before we finish up the visit here.
A great thing about Ireland is you're never far away from some berries if you want to just pick them.
And getting some blackberries along the trail back. A little bit of energy to make the climb that's coming up those stairs. Almost to the top. Whew. So we've just come up the stairs from the red trail, upper red trail, and there's a yellow trail that continues all the way around the top, and in the far distance there's people on top of the cliff edge in there. We're gonna head back this way.
These views from the top gave us an excellent panoramic vista of the Giant's Causeway. And if you go when there's more people there, at least they'll be much smaller when you're watching them.
We're at the top viewpoint overlooking the red trail. In the distance, you can see the little Giant's Causeway and one of the bays swinging around. Down below, you can see the main Giant's Causeway, the grand one. And moving along, there's the other bay, the Devil's Finger, the pipe organs in the distance, the trail, and the shepherd's steps that took us back up to the top of the red trail.
One thing to keep in mind, as with many other places in Ireland, there are no safety fences or safety features, so be very careful when you get to the edge.
Say hello to the cow. Hello guys. Hello cows.
And after a long, enjoyable day of walking, it was time to head back to the hotel where we could use that parking coupon. We originally planned just to get some coffee. However, after that long walk, we were pretty hungry, so we had a full breakfast. It was worth it, and quite good.
Mine was an Americano, which I finished, plus sausage, bacon, egg, and hash brown on a puck.
The Giant's Causeway was truly one of the highlights of our trip. If you plan to go, we highly recommend getting a place nearby and trying to arrive as early as possible. Then you'll get to see it in all its glory. It's a beautiful destination and one well worth seeing. In the next video, we'll explore more of the raw beauty and interesting history of the northern coast of Northern Ireland.